welcome to World Sim Series and welcome to Nemuno Žiedas. The Lithuanian racetrack hosts round 2 of the Baltic Touring Car Championship here on World Sim Series. The E-Baltic Touring Car Championship here on World Sim Series, running the ever so popular BMW Cup cars. And the event is sponsored by KTK. And one lucky winner who's running the KTK livery throughout the season will get a chance to get a test day in these BMW cars. We're running the full schedule that the Baltic Touring Car Championship runs, and we're at probably the most dangerous and quick track of the season, and we're sure to have many battles. Ungurs head of Ziedas in the qualifying session at the moment. Just 1/100th of a second separating those two, but there's still cars coming up, finishing their final runs. This is Žadeikis, one of the favorites coming into this round, and, well, the championship leader so far after a very interesting round 1 where a lot of cars had many issues. And Ungurs sitting in second place in that championship. Žadeikis has, as he goes off the track, has 15 kilos of ballast, 10 kilos for Ungurs, and 5 kilos for Gubarevs. That's your BOP table here, and I'm joined, as always, by Žiedas.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this phenomenal racing series on the World Sim Series platform. EBaTCC back for the 5th season already. Time flies by as you think of it, but it's not less exciting as it was in the first one. And thinking about the first round of this championship, I'm pretty excited and waiting for the start of the race, which will take place in roughly 3.5 minutes maybe. We have 2 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock in the qualifying session, and as Gustavs already mentioned, only 1/100th of a second separates the first and the second places in this round. By the way, these lap times are the fastest we have seen so far, because the fastest driver in the pre-Q round was Ziedas with a lap time of 1:17.62, I believe. So this is even faster. So they found additional grip, because I believe the conditions are identical to what it was to the pre-Q.
Maybe
so
just a bit of sandbagging coming into the event.
Maybe
not
it
showing
was.
your pace.
Yeah, and the most interesting part is
down onto pit road, so he's not going to improve. That leaves one less challenger for Ungurs here to take pole position. We'll see what Žadeikis can do. We saw him pushing hard, and he's continuing on his push. He'll have one more attempt at the end of this one as the clock winds down with just 1 minute and 17 seconds to go. Anyone who starts their qualifying lap now will start their final attempt. A reminder that once the checkered flag comes out, everyone can still finish their lap but not start a new one.
Yep, Gubarevs is also in the pit lane, so is Sarma. It's Gavich goes P3 suddenly at the very end of the qualifying session, only 2,000 of a second faster than Žadeikis. Oh, Žadeikis must be totally frustrated. He has the heaviest car on the grid, but if you look at the lap time of Ungurs, who has 10 kilos of ballast to his car, he set the fastest lap time of the queue so far. So there is some time in the pocket for Žadeikis to find. I can tell you one thing: Žadeikis had only a couple of laps of practice session before this event. He didn't do a lot of running, so he will have to find additional pace during the races if he wants to continue leading the championship. Right now he is almost 3/10 of the pole sitting time. He has to nail that lap if he wants to start slightly higher. He doesn't need to improve a lot to take that third spot away, but the qualifying session is still on. We have Gubarevs, we have Thompsons, who are still on the racetrack, and the laps are pretty tight. 24 drivers are separated seconds. You have to take into consideration that this is a shorter version of the Nemuno Žiedas racetrack. It doesn't have the chicane included. So there are only 4 braking points on the racetrack, and most of them are really gentle braking points, except to this corner that is famously named as chicane. And it's also not the heaviest braking zone on the planet of racetracks. So there's
not a lot of places to pass.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of places to pass. And actually the gap is quite large. I mean, what we saw in Bikernieki, the gap was much smaller at the top of the field. This is going to be Gubarevs finishing his final qualifying attempt.
Yep, Žadeikis already in the pit lane. So no improvement for him. Qualifying session over. Gubarevs crosses the line and he stays fifth. Yeah, so the drivers had to deal with traffic. They had to be strategically wise to take their fast laps to have a clear track ahead of them, and of course you have to nail it straight away as you enter the racetrack. So it was better for some, it wasn't that good for the others, but we have our qualifying results of the qualifying results of the second round ready for your attention, and in a couple of moments the second round will take place. So Gustas Grimbergas will run through the results and we will know the grid as it will happen in a couple of minutes.
Ungurs takes pole position and Svetens will line up alongside him on that front row, just 1/100th of a second separating these two. 10 kilos on the car for Ungurs, and he is tied at the top of the leaderboard. Mickiewicz takes third in this qualifying session, with Žadeikis lining up next to him in fourth. And then we've got Gubarevs, Kovalevskis, Thompsons, Meškelis, Soraka, Ozolins, Straub, Samulionis, Dimskis. And we just lost the qualifying results. Dimskis, Einingas, Jofert, Ozolinch, Sirmais, Glimavicius, Mitgus, Zavarskis, Gornevs, Zemnitskis, Sarma, and Shrakalinis rounds out the grid. 24 cars ready to take the flag. It is 2 races that we've got this evening, 2 20-minute races that we've got this evening, and the top 10 gets reversed for race 2. That's a chance for many of these drivers to pick up good positions. We'll see a lot of battles in the slipstream because, well, it's pretty much flat out all the way through with just a few braking zones. So driver intelligence will play a big part. I don't think the front 2 will run away. I think they had very good qualifying runs. Maybe they had a bit more slipstream than others. And this is why they're so far in front, because this is a big gap. And if you look after these two at the front row of the grid, the gaps really do become much smaller. So I think the front 2 really had good conditions, and interesting to see that they set their qualifying times quite early on in the session. Nobody was able to really improve. So shows that you really need to get that good track position in qualifying. Just half a minute to go until we go green for round 2.
15 seconds till we see the green lights, and our BMWs will enter the racetrack with full speed, approaching the first corner, which is a pretty fast one. The drivers make it in 4th gear, I believe, in around 135 km/h. Lights are out and away we go. I'm not sure if we have Gustas online. He suddenly disappeared. Hopefully there are no problems for my colleague this afternoon, but the race start is so far it is looking quite good. Into the first corner, a little bit of contact between a couple of drivers.
And there's a crash. And big crash.
And that's Carlos Meškelis again. The first race curse continues to chase down our driver, who looks to be really strategic, and he's always there with good decisions. But, well, I don't know why he's suffering in accidents in first races. This is a close battle between Mickiewicz, Kovalevskis, and Gubarevs. Let's hop on board with Gubarevs, who, yeah, he's up to 5th.
Up to 5th goes Gubarevs. Mickiewicz just holds on to 4th as Žadeikis managed to jump him at the start. Both Dream to Drive livery cars. Kovalevskis off the road, and he's now stuck in the middle of the track, and he gets hit. Not a surprise there. we've seen that happen quite a few times. Somebody goes off in support of them. That didn't look like they had anyone on track. They just went off on themselves.
I believe, yeah, they saw that car spinning and standing sideways in the Shaku corner. So I believe some of them were taking avoidtive action, and the others were caught by surprise. That's why we've seen that bigger crash. But this is Nemuno Žiedas. Come and visit this racetrack in real races, and I promise you, you will not be disappointed. There's plenty of action here on the real circuit also, so it's no surprise that the drivers on the virtual one are taking a little bit more risk and making those bigger mistakes. That's why we've seen those crashes happening on the first lap.
This track is always difficult. It's so difficult to pass around here, and that's the biggest issue. You see these cars line astern in formation, really. This is Žadeikis, and he's coming. Oh, is it?
That's the battle for second, actually, because I don't know why we see Gubarevs lined up in the first place. I think there's a bug in the results section, because Gubarevs slid off the racetrack and lost plenty of places. He's definitely not first. There we go. And actually, Gubarevs is out of this race already. He just disconnected from the server, so maybe he was just brought back to the pit lane, and that's why the results caught him as being the first one. There was a little battle between Svetins and Žadeikis, and these three drivers that are currently first, second, and third. I believe they are the three drivers currently in the battle for the lead of the championship. No, actually, I'm not right. Svetin is actually fifth. Yeah, but Gubarevs is third in the standings.
He's overtaken Mitskevicius, gotten in front.
Yep. Mitskevicius is wearing a new livery this evening. He raced for KTK Racing Division. Now he is a driver of the Dream to Drive team. And by the way, if you're looking at this the first time and you haven't ever seen the real 325 Cup racing action on the real tracks, these virtual cars, as you see painted them here, are actually representing the real teams and the real cars of the real drivers. And that's actually looking really nice on our screens, having those real-looking cars racing each other on the virtual racetracks and bringing us really similar action as we see on the real racetracks. That's really enjoyable.
Let's see, this battle still going on. The battle for the lead actually has... The gap has increased between Svetins and Žadeikis, who's lost about a second last time. Well, he didn't lose a second last time around, but he's kind of dropping off that slipstream, which is also important. So now he's hoping for Svetins, who he was alongside with just, it seems like a moment ago. He's hoping that Svetins might make a move and slow these two drivers in front of him down. Mitskevicius will try to hold on to Gubarevs here. If he can hold on in the slipstream, they might just be able to catch Žadeikis in front. Big slide by
that's a big loss.
That's how you lose.
Yeah,
that's how you lose time.
It's well, it wasn't a big slide, but you lose a lot of time in these low-powered engine cars. On such slides, look at the gap opening. It's already up to 1 second, so they had the chance to try and catch up with Žadeikis, who's losing slipstream. But actually, Žadeikis is just sitting in third and hoping for a bigger battle to open up between Svetins and Ungurs. And by the way, we've seen Svetins and Ungurs battling in the Pikirnieki racetrack. Svetins had the lead for a very long time in the first race of the opening round, but then at the very end he kind of lost the pace. Ungurs was able to overtake him, so Žadeikis is hoping for his rivals to start doing some action and maybe take those different lines, defend your position, or maybe make a move or a pass happening. But it looks like, yep, Ungurs is thinking about it. He doesn't want
to run away.
Yeah,
they're trying to run away together.
Yep.
But Žadeikis looks like have the momentum here. These cars are all about the momentum you can carry. If you mess up one turn...
There we go. Svetins just clipped the gravel on the Ąžuolas turn. And if you clip it, you lose about 3/10 down the straight. Maybe it wasn't too much, but he definitely clipped the gravel with his left rear wheel. And you can see Žadeikis already gaining on both of the cars by roughly 2/10 down that one straight. Yep, so they definitely lost 2/10, and Ungurs has to think about it right now. Svetens is fast, but he is doing mistakes, and it looks like both of the drivers are suffering now. While trying to run away from Žadeikis, they are actually getting him closer by them. So 13 minutes to go. There's still plenty of lap times on the distance ahead of these three drivers. They have to be careful.
That's great. This is Ozelins and Jofert doing a bit of bumping and rubbing down the straight. But keeping it clean for the moment. You can see how difficult it is to overtake. You don't have those hard braking zones. You have to defend the inside sometimes. This is Straupanis and Saup. Make sure that Saupanis goes a bit off-road and big crash on the rejoin.
Oh, 4 cars
rejoin
involved
on the track like that, and that is not a good look. This puts Sakalinis up into 10th. That's your golden ticket for pole position for race 2. Having a look, where is Meškelis actually up to 15th by now?
He was pretty fast in the pre-qualifying session, in the pre-qualifying round actually, but well, he didn't find the raw pace in the qualifying session. It's really hard to nail that one fast lap, and if you're in traffic and or you make one small mistake, you don't have a lot of chances like you do in the pre-qualifying session. You can always restart your runs and nail that one lap. Qualifying doesn't give you that many attempts because you have to warm up those tires. There is a window where you have that good grip, and then you have to start over. So Meškelis was not that lucky in the qualifying session, and then it actually was even worse at the start, but he has the pace. It's not that easy to overtake here, even if you have the pace advantage, because the pace, well, the biggest pace advantage that you can have over your rival is, well, maybe 2 to 3 tenths if you're close to your rival. So Svetens goes wide again and clipping the gravel.
Make the move. Let's see.
Yep, he is on it.
Svetens actually lifting off to give Ungurs the lead, so maybe Svetens not as comfortable as he wants to be at the front of the pack, but doing it the smart way, not losing too much time battling, but they've still got Žadeikis right behind them. Now the question is, can Svetens hold on to the back of Ungurs here?
Well, maybe it's a little bit easier to drive behind someone rather than be in the lead. I think Svetens was maybe a little bit too excited, and it was difficult for him to concentrate and look at the ideal lines, but he's struggling even in the second position, driving behind Ungurs. Oh man, that's
big slide on the entry, and that's going to give Žadeikis a chance to get up in front into second place and makes the move stick. So now they've got to catch Ungurs together, and Svetens in about half a lap, he's gone from first down to third. Not an ideal scenario for him. Maybe just overcooking the Nakang tires a little bit, and that's why these mistakes start creeping in. And once you make one, you overheat the tire, you make more, and one more, and one more, and one more, and at the end, you've lost a lot. So let's see if Žadeikis can still hold on to that slipstream from your race leader.
Well, he's gaining. He was 0.9 of a second behind Ungurs. Now he's 0.8. He was just 0.7 seconds behind him. The gaps are tight, but it's still doable. Žadeikis sees his target in front. I'm pretty sure he's not overly excited to look in his rear view mirrors, even though Svetens is quite close on his tail. Svetens showed already that he has the pace. He can nail one fast lap, but he makes mistakes, and it looks like it's really difficult for Svetens to keep up that concentration to the highest levels. But as mentioned before, it's a little bit easier to be on your rival's tail, and it's then you don't get that too much pressure on your shoulders, and then you don't make those small mistakes. So he can hang up with Edvinas Žadeikis, though Edvinas is definitely looking forwards and trying to catch Ungurs, because it's still far from over. 9 minutes of race to go. Svetins is on a move, actually. Žadeikis going defensive already down the straight. He clearly showed Svetins that he will not allow the inside line for the chicane corner, but Edvinas Žadeikis makes a mistake, goes sideways. He went off the brake a little bit too fast, lost the back end of his car. Gap goes up to 1.1 seconds between Ungurs and Žadeikis, and it looks like this is going to be the battle till the end of this race for P2. And looking at Gubarevs, who's sitting tight in P4, he's sitting there quietly, but he's always gaining on the cars ahead who keep making mistakes. So first it was Svetins, now it's Edvinas Žadeikis who made that small mistake, and look, they have already traveled around half of the circuit after Edvinas made that mistake. But that's how much you lose. Ungurs is off the racetrack on first corner, so the tires are veering off a little bit faster than the drivers expected. That's what's happening here. And actually, if you don't keep the tires warm, they are dropping the temperature, so maybe it's really hard to keep that temperature in the optimal range to get that grip that you want, and every time you arrive at the corner it can catch you by surprise.
Maybe getting a little bit relaxed at the front of the field as well. Sometimes that can hurt you, right? If you get a bit relaxed at the front, you know you've got the gap behind you, you know you've got the pace. May sometimes start making mistakes. 17.8 last time round with an 18.2 for the two drivers behind. Actually, Gubarevs catching up to both Svetins and Žadeikis, but Žadeikis pulling out a gap, at least a small gap over Svetins right now. Let's see if he can maybe carry this momentum to catch up to Ungurs, his championship rival.
So Ungurs made that big mistake in that first corner, but it looks like he didn't lose a lot of time because the gap is still 1.2 seconds and it's growing. So yeah, maybe he knows something about faster lines around the Nemuno Žiedas racetrack on the virtual version, which still has that old pavement. Nemuno Žiedas was recently reconstructed, and the worst parts of the circuit received new tarmac, new asphalt. And it shouldn't be that bumpy anymore. Everyone is excited for the new season and waiting eagerly for the weather to become better and allow the drivers to go out on the racetrack and test it out. This is the old version with all those bumps, especially when you arrive into the chicane corner. There's a big hole in the braking zone, so you have to choose your brake line really precisely to not knock that back end of the car out into the corner. Different lines into Makushke by both Svetins and Žadeikis, and Svetins is close. He's putting big pressure on Edvinas Žadeikis, the man who is usually as cold as ice, and he's always capable to concentrate only what's happening in front of him. So it's gonna be a hell of a job for Svetins to try and provoke Edvinas Žadeikis into a mistake, but this can happen, and that's what Svetins is currently concentrated on right now. And you can expect a mistake from the man who is being chased down rather than a mistake from the man who's chasing down. They come into the Stadionas corner, going down. Wise move.
Yep. Svetins. Oh. Wow, and he's going to make the move. Stick just about before the turn. They've given up for the battle for the lead, but now they've got a big threat behind them, and Gubarevs, who's catching up. He's obviously got 5 kilos of ballast after being third last time out with the combined results. He's 52 points with the front two at 53. Wow, Žadeikis being pushed to the outside, and then he realizes, oh, I have to cover the inside because I've got Gubarevs coming right up behind me. To the left they go, up over the crest and down the hill they plunge again. 4.5 minutes to go for your race leader, and everyone behind him. I think about 3 laps to go in this one. Let's see if Edvinas Žadeikis can try and make a move here. I think Svetins has collected himself and he's removed those mistakes that he had early on. and maybe actually looks a bit more comfortable than what Žadeikis does. Because Žadeikis lost a little bit of time, even with sticking in the slipstream. Svetens doesn't have anyone in front to pull him along. Lights on for Gubarevs behind, so maybe trying to annoy Žadeikis just a little bit.
Yep, that's your wisest strategy here on this racetrack. Try to have your headlines on, and if you have the flash button, you need to flash it as many times as you can, just to try and distract your rival, because it's really hard to overtake without your rival making a mistake. And it looks like that's something that the drivers are currently...
again.
Oh, Žadeikis, does he have troubles with the warmth of his tires? Because now he's right in the clutches of Gubarevs. Svetens, seeing Žadeikis sliding around, he definitely becomes more relaxed, and that guarantees you to make lesser mistakes. It looks like the man on the hot seat is currently Edvinas, and he has to go defensive again. Gubarevs is third in the championship standings, and Gubarevs goes to the inside in the first corner, and there's nothing much that Žadeikis can do. Maybe just try and swap the lines and prepare
to try and get that line on the exit. He's gonna make the move, done into the braking zone, holds on to that final podium spot. He needs those championship points desperately with his championship rival leading the race. He needs to continue on his mission here. He'd be starting in front for race 2, and that's normally the race where we see most of the action going on, because there's a lot of cars very much misplaced. Sakalinis right now in that hot seat in 10th.
I think he's pretty safe with that. Soraka is currently 11th, and we have a battle between Ozolins and Joffert. Approaching track A corner, it looks like Ozolins has the best line to make that move stick on this racetrack, but look how late on the brakes is Joffert, and he tries to hold on to the outside. It's gonna be a hard job. Side by side into Makushke, that's not happening a lot and often, and it's pretty dangerous, but both of the drivers giving enough of
a little
room.
bit wide. Jofert's a little bit wide, and this battle is going to continue on down to turn 1. Gubarevs 0.1 of a second, so they're almost side by side as well. 1 minute 25 to go. That means 2 more laps in this one. Gubarevs to the inside. Žadeikis tries to hold on, but not enough.
Too late.
Not quickly enough. It was very late. He was a bit too late to cover that inside line. Now side by side through the left, and they'll go side by side through another left. And if Žadeikis can hold on, yes, he can. Continues to hold that final podium
Gubarevs
spot.
went off, he lifted, but he did it wisely. He knew that 2 cars will not fit into that corner down the Stadionas corner. Beautiful driving by both of the drivers, giving enough of room, and a lot of respect between both of these drivers. In that situation, Gubarevs sticking behind Žadeikis. There's going to be 1 lap after the drivers cross this line, so he will have his chances in this race to finish on the final step of the podium. He sticks with Žadeikis. By the way, Ozolins is still behind Joffert, so not a lot of things have changed in the first race. We've seen a couple of overtakes, but wait for that second one where your top 10 drivers will start the race in a reversed order. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
That's the difficult one. That's where these drivers will have to show their overtaking knowledge. Žadeikis holds on at least for 1 more turn, unless Gubarevs can think of a way to dive down the inside. He kind of does. He shows his nose, making Žadeikis have to look into his mirrors and make a small mistake, but I think he might just have this if he can get the good exit here, and he does. It's pretty clean. He's got 1 more turn pretty much to get right. You can't really pass further down the road. This is on board from Gubarevs coming into the braking zone. And if Žadeikis doesn't make the same mistake he made a couple times by going wide and sliding around, I think he might just about be safe, but it's not the result I'm sure he'd want. Off a little bit wide, touches the grass, but it looks like it will just about be enough. And Ungurs coming to the line, he's going to take race 1 here at Nemuno Žiedas and takes the lead of the championship as well. Side by side drag race to the line, but Žadeikis holds on to the final podium position. Mats Mitskachus finishes 5th, kind of alone on track. Jofert holds on, he does. Drag race to the line, but Ozolins finishes behind, and Sakalinis will be your pole sitter for race 2. And on the front row with him will be Ozolins, not related to the other Ozolins at all.
Yep, as we found out after the first race, I've kind of created an interesting story where both of the Ozolins are a father and son. I'm not sure where that came from. Sorry about that, but they are definitely
totally
not related.
It was totally wrong, but
Yeah.
it was fun. It was fun to think about.
Yep, it
But,
was. Yep,
Maybe
so
they are secretly.
maybe.
They just don't know.
Yeah, maybe they don't know that. But maybe we know that better, you know? You never
Exactly.
know what you know.
The commentator's always right.
You can argue with them. Yep, so there are your results of the first race, and we will have a small break until we see the second one. So, Sakalinis... is it Sakalinis? It's Ozolins who will start from pole. It looks like we... Oh, yeah, I'm looking at the qualifying session results, and you are looking at them also. Sorry about that. I was looking and not understanding everything. Yep, Sakalinis on pole. Ungurs will start 10th. We have 4 minutes of rest time, so stick with us. You'll have a nice... commercial break with live action from the real racetracks, and then we'll hop in the BMW of Karolis Jovisha, who holds the track record of the real Nemuno Žiedas racetrack in a BMW 325 Cup. So stick with us and see you for the second race in a couple of minutes. So there were these two nice videos for your attention, action from the real racetracks, and one hot, smoking hot lap. The fastest lap then with the BMW 325 Cup on Nemuno Žiedas racetrack so far, set by 2021 champion of that class, Karolis Jovaiša. He's not here in this virtual championship, but maybe the next time he'll be able to join it. And now we're still in the wait for the second race to take place. And, well, as we have that time available for us, we can take a quick look at the championship standings, maybe for your attention. These are the results after the first round was completed. So Edvin Žadeikis and Ungurs came into this round with the same amount of points, 53 for both. Gubarevs came with 52 points. The heaviest car on the grid this evening is driven by Edvin Žadeikis. Ungurs has 10 kilograms of ballast. Yep, drivers fitting into their seats and getting ready for start number 2. We have 1 minute and 45 seconds. So, Raid's 4th and Svetin's 5th, 48 points. The gaps are really tight between the drivers after the first round, and I think we're gonna see similar results throughout this season, which has 4 rounds in total. It's gonna be a tight battle between the drivers for the best spot on the grid for the prizes, and as Gustas already mentioned, our partners and the sponsors of this championship, KTK Racing Division, are giving the real experience for one lucky driver of this championship who drives a car with the KTK 2023 livery. The team was driving cars painted like these, as you see on your screens in the previous season. Everyone is waiting for the new one and excited about it as much as we are excited about this race. So Šakalin is shown as 22nd, but he's actually holding the pole position for the second race, right on the front row, left side on your screens. And I'm already lost who's the second driver. That's Ozolins. Yep, he's second. Dimskis third. Ozolins, Ozolins. Sorry for my bad language. He's 4th.
So coming up to the lights, as the lights will come on. We've seen cars struggle to get off the line. This one is downhill, so maybe a bit easier for the drivers. And we go green one final time here at Nemuno Žiedas. Again, second place, just as round 1 gets a better getaway. And Ozolins takes the lead down into turn 1. They're going to go side by side and almost free wide down into turn 1. Quite a few cars. It's hard to pick out because so many are running the beautiful KTK livery. Down into turn 1 they've come through. Žadeikis up to 6th, and now coming down onto the left-hander. This is looking back from Ozolins as Ozolins overtakes him, and I'm sure the drivers behind don't know what's going on as they have 2 Ozolins right in front of them
battling each other. And we've seen a similar situation in the beginning.
Ozolins goes through. Ozolins takes the lead. It's the pole it's the front row sitting Ozolins, and Jofert actually coming up side by side.
Clipping the curb was our Ozolins and lost a little bit of time. Coming into the chicane again, jumping over the curbs.
That's Jofert pushing him to the inside, and Jofert off the road. Somebody coming up the inside. That's Žadeikis. He's up to 4th place again. Beautiful start by your, well, he's not the championship leader anymore, but he was coming into this race. He's doing a wonderful job going around the outside and makes the move stick.
Wow.
That was actually ahead of Ozolins. No.
Yep, that's ahead of Ozolins, or it was ahead of Šakalinis, I believe, and we have quite a big pileup of cars coming into turn 1, 3 wide. Not sure if that's gonna. Yep, it's not working. Edvin Žadeikis was clipped by Dimskis, was it? There was a little bit of contact, and we have Oh yeah, look, the cars can jump as horses. As it looked on my screen, one car was having a blast of a time in first corner, and it was Šakalinis, the driver who started from pole in the second race. Nice jumping car, actually, that BMW is. So there is a battle between Edvinas Žadeikis and Gytis Dimskis. Gytis runs a little bit wide, definitely he'll lose the momentum. And look who's currently fifth, coming safely through, a little bit slower than Edvinas Žadeikis, but still up to fifth. Our first race winner.
Actually at the same pace as Edvinas Žadeikis, because they were...
Oh yeah, actually.
10th and 8th from the line. Oh, a bit of a push from the back. Big crash behind them. Wow, off into the woods goes Raka, but comes back onto the road, pretty tight there on the rejoin, but everybody safely back out on track.
Looks like those KTK Racing Division race cars are good jumpers on the tires. There is another KTK car was jumping around the track and safely getting back on the racetrack. Well, if you can call that safe comeback. Still, they were lucky to avoid further contacts. That's Gubarevs, your fourth place finisher in the first race. He's sixth, right behind Ungurs. And remember, the driver started on cold tires, so you have roughly 2 laps to warm them up as the pace will go up. And it's the most crucial part of the race, the start of it. Try and stick your car on the tarmac. Gubarevs was thinking about a move on Ungurs, but Ungurs was running wisely, and Ungurs has the difficulties, and he was sent into space. Well, it looked funny. It's not funny at all. Our first race winner has connection issues, and he disconnected from the second race. What bad luck that is. And speaking about luck, Edvinas Žadeikis is sitting in third. Currently, he's looking quite good with the total points of this one. Svetins is seventh, the driver who finished second. Well, that's what the virtual racing is about. You can have your engine blown up or any other part broken in the real races, and even finishing first, you can have a DNF in the second race. When you're racing virtually, you always have the chance to have disconnects. I think Ungurs is still kind of hit. Oh yeah, he just
back out on track.
Yeah, he just reconnected. So it is a disconnect, and that's the worst news for a driver. We have a big crash. Is that a crash?
I think there's somebody going off.
Yep, clipping the grass and kicking the dust into the air, while Edvinas Žadeikis is gaining on Joford, so the gap is 0.8 of a second. Dimskis 2 seconds behind Edvinas Žadeikis, so it's a little bit bigger gap between the drivers in front. Zolinj down to 12th, and
somebody mowing the grass once again. Ozon's touching and touching and touching. That's Ozon's down into 13th. He was up in the front too, and off the road goes everyone, and another big crash.
And that's Kovalevskis. He was unlucky in the first race. He's also unlucky in the second one. He had the DNF in the first one, and it's not looking pretty for the second one. It's really tight. Oh, look at that. Edvinas Žadeikis is already second.
By quite a big margin, actually.
I think Joford made a mistake, so he definitely did something wrong to lose that place. Zolin's running a little bit wide in the background, further down the distance, 2.6 seconds.
Žadeikis has a big job on his hands. 2.6 seconds to gain around this place. It's not going to be easy.
Yep, and he has to cover those moves from Joford first, and he has to build that gap, because right now he has to concentrate into his rear view mirrors just to not let Joford take any possible moves, while Gubarevskis is up to 5th. Where's Svetins down to P8? Straupe is currently 6th. What's happening in the second race? So Miškelis and Svetins were just battling. I think Miškelis just made a mistake. He had Svetins overtaken. He's now behind him and losing quite a big time down that straight. I think he was off in Ajolo corner. So maybe that's why he was in front of Svetin. So Joford is still on the back end of Edvinas Žadeikis, and he's not losing. He's not letting Edvinas Žadeikis run away, but I think if I was in the Joffert pants right now, I would just try to sit behind Edvin Žadeikis and, well, try to follow his lines and catch up with Ozolins, if that's even possible. But you can always try to do that, because if you start any battle, you will definitely lose time and lose any chances for the battle for the first place.
I think that's what he'll try to do here. I don't see a point to battle. You're only going to lose. I think if Joffert can stay behind, he might just be able to hold on to that podium finish.
Yep, and they are pulling on Ozolins right now without big battles. The gap is down to 2.3 seconds, 13 minutes on the clock, so still a little bit of time for the drivers to try and chase them down. Gubarevs gaining on Dimskis. Dimskis sitting in 4th place, having a pretty decent second running this evening. He finished 8th in the first one, so he has to sit tight, has the very fast Latvian behind him. But this battle is still live, and I kind of thought that Edvin Žadeikis should get that gap as soon as he gets in front of Joffert, but it's not the case at this moment. Maybe Joffert just using that slipstream and trying to hold on. As mentioned before, though that gap to first place is big at this moment, doesn't mean that it cannot become smaller in the nearest future. Any smallest mistake can cause the driver to lose up to 5/10 per lap. So that's far from over, but nice to see the drivers having similar pace in this event. But that's usually the case in a class similar to this one with low-powered cars. Everything is up to the driver, and you can nail one lap faster than your rival, but in the long runs, the pace usually becomes a little bit more similar, and the battles are tighter.
It's important for them to just keep holding on to keep up the momentum. We've seen those momentum shifts where somebody makes a mistake, they kind of lose that speed, and they keep carrying less speed. They try to make it up, it doesn't work, and they keep losing more and more and more. So, but actually Joffert doing a good job holding on. Žadeikis 17.8, 17.9 for Joffert, and an 18.1 for Ozolins. Gap coming down. If it's quick enough, I don't think so. Maybe Žadeikis needs to find just a little bit more time to get up to the back of Ozolins here.
But this is already a really good pace. We had 17.5 for your pole position the last time. It was 17.8 and 17.9 by Joffert, so they are definitely on the edge of the pace, and Joffert feeling a little bit more comfortable. And look, that's how you work together. You get your car in the slipstream, but don't break yourself. It was a really nice gesture down the straight. You don't want to make that move. You want to gain on your leader, so you give your rival a slight push to make both of you faster. That's how you work together. But Joffert outbraked himself a little bit into that chicane corner. Both of the drivers lost a little bit, and you have to be really careful not to touch that grass on the inside or on the outside, because that slows you a little bit too much. Now Ozolins will have that gap, even though he ran a little bit slower. Look how both of the drivers lost with that small mistake into that chicane corner. So from 17.8, it's down to 18.5. Gubarevs just received a drive-through penalty for cutting the track, but Joffert feeling really comfortable in this second race. And he's right on the tail of Edvin Žadeikis, making his life pretty difficult at this moment. While Gubarevs is on the tail of Gytis Dimskis, and there's another battle been building up between two drivers. He was 3.5 tenths faster the previous lap, so it's definitely gonna be a battle building up pretty soon on our screens. Gytis Dimskis losing a little bit of time out of chicane corner, and Gubarevs doesn't wait any longer.
You can't wait, because you know you're not gonna have another chance this good. Gubarevs gets in front. I don't think he has enough time to catch up to the drivers ahead?
Yep, that's difficult. 8 minutes till the end of the race. The gap between first and second place is 2 seconds. Jofer lost a little bit of time. What can Dimskis do? Can he hold on to Gubarevs and use that slipstream to his own advantage? Oh, that's not the part on the racetrack where you want to make that move happen. And there's a contact, and Gubarevs is sent sideways. Dimskis, is he waiting for Gubarevs to accelerate side by side? It wasn't clean.
Sure,
and Svetin's coming through like a monster and just shouting out, give us some space, and I need to go in front. And yeah, but I would say that was a really opportunistic move by Dimskis at first place. He didn't line his car on the outside. That's not the place on the racetrack where you want those passes to take place. It only slows both of you down, especially if you clip your rival. So yeah, Dimskis with a big mistake, I should call. Now he's in the middle of the battles.
Speaking of monster, by the way, half a second, 4/10 to half a second already gained on this lap by Žadeikis, so he's on a big push. He knows he doesn't have much time to catch up to Ozolins.
Yep, and he pulls Jofer still together. So nice job by Jofer. He's holding on to Žadeikis quite nicely and doing the job really, really nice. I really enjoyed looking at the driving style of Jofer to not overtake Žadeikis, and Jofer actually faster on the previous lap than Žadeikis, while we draw right on board with Straupe. That's Gubarevs and Dimskis one more time. This time Gubarevs showing to his rival how you have to make those moves stick into the first corner. You have to prepare them coming down from way down from Makushka, and well, Dimskis doesn't want to give up. There's another contact between these two drivers. I'm pretty sure our referee will have a close look at this battle after this race finishes. By the way, we don't have live race control this afternoon. Gubarevs disqualified for not taking the drive-through penalty. Not sure how you do that on this version of the Nemuno Žiedas racetrack. That's tight. It's gonna be 3 cars into chicane corner. Dimskis, Gubarevs, and Straupe sitting tight between his rivals. I think he's just waiting for both of the drivers ahead make some silly mistakes and maybe get those places. Gubarevs holding on to that 5th spot. Dimskis is pretty racy, but I think the decisions that Dimskis is taking in this race are not always the best ones. And sometimes he's just rushing it a little bit too much. Jofer and Žadeikis, by the way, 0.1 of a second. Again, the gap between Ozolins and Žadeikis is 1.3 seconds. So there's another battle who's really, really big this second race between Jofer and Žadeikis. And that's a big surprise for me, actually. But look at Jofer. He's still being really, really nice and working together. It looks like Jofer has quite a lot of experience. That's the driver from Estonia. And I'm pretty sure he's maybe he's a driver of those legend cars where the drivers are used to work in that slipstream together. That it doesn't work in any other way in those legends. It's just slipstreaming and pushing your rivals to keep in one pack to try and battle it out at the end. And this is how you work your way through if you want to take that better spot in this race. Really enjoying this one. And while Dimskis just lost the position to Straupe, and while these drivers are battling hard each other, Miškelis was able to pull up himself a little bit closer to his rivals with 4 minutes and 18 seconds remaining. Suddenly Miškelis seeing a chance to maybe finish this race a little bit higher. Mitko's 9th, also holding on strongly, nicely to his rivals, but look how the pace changes as soon as the drivers start making some moves. So that's why we see Jofer still sticking to the back end of Žadeikis, waiting for him to try and chase down Ozolins, and I'm pretty sure we will see a battle between Žadeikis and Jofer right at the very end of this race. Right now he's just being patient.
I think Jofer hoping to catch up.
Yeah.
If they don't, he's going to go for a move on the final lap of the race, getting super duper close.
And that's what you want to do, especially on...
And now Žadeikis in slipstream. He's pretty much in slipstream range, 0.9 of a second to Ozolins. And now we should start to see the gap coming down and down and down. if Jofert doesn't hit the back of Žadeikis once again, he's being very careful to not do so.
Oh, a little bit
wide.
it was a little bit too tight around chicane corner, so he missed the second apex, and that's why he ran a little bit wide. But he's driving really wisely and using that slipstream to his own advantage, not making bigger mistakes, just those small ones, and that allows him to stick with the back end of Edvino Žadeikis. Both of the drivers working beautifully together. 2.5 minutes, so I think we are 3 laps till we will see the checkered flag, and that's going to be tied between these 3 drivers, and there's definitely going to be a battle. Meškelis and Dimskis, 2 KTK Racing Division virtual drivers, battling on the racetrack into turn 1. Dimskis goes defensive, switching from our leader pack and keeping an eye on the results, looking into this battle. Meškelis going to the inside of Stadionas corner.
Dimskis, not much he can do there. I think he actually doesn't lift out of it. I was expecting to see Dimskis lift out of it.
And Meškelis actually lifts out of it.
Yeah, well, he has to. There's no other option there. Once you're coming down the hill side by side, somebody's going to have to lift, and Meškelis makes the smart decision. Remember, after lap 1 of race 1, well, not after lap 1, after turn 1 of race 1, he was dead last, but coming back up the field nicely. We've seen many drives from him when he has to come back up the field.
He's used to that. I think he's one of the drivers who likes to make mistakes in the first one to make his life a little bit harder. You know why? Just to learn a little bit more about driving. He's actually,
I'm not sure he likes to make mistakes in race 1. I wouldn't call it that
that's
he
what
does
happens.
it on purpose and enjoys coming from the back of the field.
But he's actually a pretty fresh face in sim racing community. He's actually racing for roughly 1 year. So, well, I think his progress is really, really obvious, and those situations where he has to battle his way back to the front makes him stronger every time he does that. Of course, he doesn't like it, but well, he has to live with that, and hopefully he'll learn a lot of things, and maybe in 1 or 2 years he'll be battling further out in front. Dimskis slides around into Stadionas corner, and I'm not sure if we're on the last lap or the
no, there'll be one more.
Yep, and that's already really tight at the front. But there's going to be only 1 lap for these drivers to decide who will take that checker flag. Will it be Ozolins, Žadeikis, or Jofert, or even Svetins, who is currently 6.1 seconds behind this battle? But as it gets so tight between these 3 drivers, you never know what you can see. Jofert running a little bit wide out of Makushka. He will definitely lose a lot of time, and Žadeikis right on the tail of Ozolins, and he knows that's the start of the final lap.
To the outside on the front straightaway. He makes the move to the outside of Ozolins, who's held the lead for the whole of this race.
That's
White
clever.
flag in the air, and it's final lap. Ozolins a little bit wide, and Žadeikis might be able to go to the inside here.
Oh man, that's masterpiece of driving. You have to write it on your books. That's how you make those moves possible. Just outsmart your rival with compromising his line.
Gets it stick, and if Ozolins cannot come back, and he does come back to the inside, they're going to go side by side. They touch. Oh, they stay on track. Beautiful.
That's the chance for Jofert now.
Yep, that's the chance for Jofert, but I think Ozolins will try to come back at Žadeikis as well. Žadeikis will have to defend the inside at least a little bit, but that gap bigger from Ozolins to Žadeikis than it is from Jofert to Ozolins. Ozolins has to really defend his inside, but I think he's going to hold on if he doesn't make a mistake through these final few turns. We've seen drag races to the line, but normally it's not enough, and especially that Ozolins has a car in front pulling him along. But Žadeikis is going to take his second race win.
I think it was a move of the entire season. Edvino Žadeikis outsmarted his rival. He made him run a little bit too tight into turn 1, and that allowed him to make that move. So yeah, Edvino Žadeikis with real life experience and winning races on real racetracks, he used that experience to take that checker flag in this second race.
Again, second race win for Žadeikis. First race didn't go to plan. first time out. This one was maybe a bit more to plan, and he just didn't have the pace that he needed, especially with those kilos on his car. This time, dominant performance. I mean, really catching up quickly to Ozolin's, making the move on the last lap. He had to make it on the last lap. It wasn't easy for him, but he used his real-life experience well to take the win in this race. That's going to pull him further up in the standings as his rivals, well, his main rival, finished dead last. Well, not dead last, actually 22nd. Did finished Ungurs, who was equal on points. Gubarevs was 3rd in the championship, and Svetens was 5th. So Edna Žadeikis is going to extend his lead at the top of the standings.
Yeah, that's how you rule the leaderboard, by driving wisely, not particularly being the fastest driver on the racetrack, but just, well, using all your knowledge, making no mistakes, or at least small mistakes, but always sticking with your strategy, giving your best shot. And wow, that move, that has to go to the books of all the drivers who are racing and maybe looking races. That was really strategic, and I think Edvin Žadeikis definitely deserves the win that he took today.
Yep, beautiful drive and much cleaner race maybe than we expected it. We had some incidents, but definitely Bikirniki was much more difficult. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time in the Porsche Ring in Estonia. The 3rd round of the championship. And I'm sure it's going to be another incredible race there. And for the final round, we'll head on to Poznan in Poland. EBaTCC coming there this season.
Yep.
And the drivers will have their first taste of the track in the virtual world here on the EBaTCC Championship on WorldSimSeries.com. If you want to head in to the next event, just go on WorldSimSeries.com, register for free, and sign up for the EBaTCC rounds and see if you can challenge Edna Žadeikis for the title.
Yep, especially the drivers who are going to the real event this year, a little bit later, I think in September, when the EBaTCC Championship will visit Poznan. That's your best chance to practice the racetrack before you hit it on in the real thing. You have the chance to make it happen on the World Sim Series platform thanks to EBaTCC, and don't forget our partners KTK Racing Division preparing for the new season already with cars running all over the virtual racetracks. Hope you had fun. Congratulations to all the winners. We had I think we had 2 divisions actually. We forgot to honor our second and third division. Jasulavičius took the win of the second race. Ulvidaite, our real-life champion of the ladies class in the 325 Cup, finished second. Mežaks finished third. So we definitely have real drivers enjoying this virtual championship as they enjoy the real one. The virtual championship as they enjoy the real one. And the third division saw Burgaila taking the win, AS Racing finishing second, and Alkovikas finishing third. So that was the finish of the second round of the virtual EBaTCC Championship, the 5th season already. See you in 2 weeks' time with these BMWs. Don't forget that this coming Sunday, is the 5th round of the 1 hour championship. Oh man, I forgot the name, the actual name.
The GT3 Team Championship.
Yep, thanks to my colleague. You can join us on similar times this Sunday. And then there's also a big event on the 2nd of March, the Nürburgring 12 hours event. So just come to the World Sim Series platform to find all the needed info. There's plenty of action, plenty of great prizes to take away, and of course the biggest prize you receive on the World Sim Series platform is your experience, knowledge, and your better driving skills. That's it. Thanks everyone who carefully watched the races with us, and hope to see you soon.